Hey folks, Steve Stack, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, back here at Studio 3B in our workshop. We have another great little project today, and I've invited a friend.
Hello, Steve.
Mackenzie.
Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mackenzie Cross is joining me today, marketing partner, today woodworking partner, right? We've got this great little Build It with Baird project. Really a all-around, anyone can build kind of project. Carpentry 101, right?
Yeah.
Very simple materials list. We're gonna make a little bit of sawdust. We're gonna do some cross-cutting, do some different things on maybe the miter box, the table saw, and we're gonna take you through it. So, Ken, you ready to hit this?
I guess, here we go.
All right,
Ready
let's
or
go,
not.
guys. Really, Mackenzie, there's not a lot to it.
Just a couple pieces of wood here, a nice easy project, especially if you're doing it as a family.
I think we have involved an 8-foot piece of 1x12 red oak. We're working with the red oak today, along with the dimensional stock. We have some 3/8 buttons we're gonna use. It's all called out on the prints, on the drawings. It'll be available online. And right now we need a couple pieces of 1x6, 19 inches long. One will serve as our top rod holder and one will serve as a stretcher board about mid-body on our side panels. So I'm gonna get those cut, okay?
Okay, very good.
Nice clean cuts, square, ready to go into our project. We've done the majority of our cross-cutting, and there's one piece of the 1x12 that has to be sized down to 10 inches in width. So we're gonna use our saw stop table saw, and I'm gonna make this rip for you guys. Okay, Kens. Now we have to do a little layout work. Now I've done a couple, and this is the bottom shelf of the rod and rack stand. And so we're gonna be drilling an 1 3/8 hole. We have 2-inch offset from both edges of the board. Then we have 2 7/8 from the ends for our first center location on the hole. And then it's 3 5/16 equal spacing for the balance of the holes. So I always revert back to the old tri-square, Kens. And we want to create that 2-inch offset,
Okay.
right, for our center hole location, offset from the edge of the boards. If we're doing multiple pieces, you take advantage of your first layout piece,
Make it a template.
so you don't have to
Yeah.
go through all the measurements again, right?
Yep.
Now we can take and just hit our centers.
And with this project, you have enough for, what, 10 fishing rods right here. But if you're more of an expert, you probably could modify this and make it as big or as small as you want.
This is only going to be 20.5 inches overall, so it don't take up a lot of room, but it keeps your rods and reels organized.
Right.
The next thing we're going to want to do with this piece is we're going to be drilling that with this Forstner 1 3/8, okay? And the 5/16 depth that the print's calling out on the upper shelf, we still have our 2 7/8 offset from the ends, our 3 5/16 center spacing, and on this one, we're only going in 1 inch on our edge offset.
Okay.
And myself 2 7/8, 5/16. There we have it, Mackenzie. We're ready to start drilling some pilot holes, some locator holes. We're gonna give ourselves a couple lines here, and that'll be for our next operation on the crosscut, the miter box. And what's gonna happen, we're gonna cut those lines out, so now we have that U-shaped cavity, so when you stand your rods up, they'll be housed in that little U-shaped cavity, a little holding rack. All right? Let's get to drilling. Ken, do you want to try one of these?
Okay.
Nice job. So Mackenzie, we finished the bottom shelf with the engine 3/8 by 5/16 depth. Now this being the top shelf, and I've already drilled one of the holes, this 1-inch Forstner bit, we need to take this all the way through.
Okay.
Okay? Let's hit a couple of these. Okay, Ken, you ready to give it a go?
Yep.
Okay, Mackenzie, so we just started to drill these, and now we have to clear out the front edge, the leading edge of this hole, so we can slide the rods in place, right?
Okay.
Let's give it a try.
Let's work.
Okay, Mackenzie, folks, our side panels, 1x12s, we chose to cant them in a little bit. We can see on one that we've already done, from the 11.5-inch width, we're winding up with a 7-inch width. It works out to be 2 1/4 removal from each side.
Okay.
And we have our cut line mark, okay? We have this nice fence that our saw can ride against,
Okay.
giving us a little more accurate cut.
Okay.
Well, that didn't go so bad, Mackenzie.
Looks good.
We're to the point where we have to sand some components, and then real quick, we're going to be thinking about assembly. So in the assembly process, we have to locate our bottom shelf, our top shelf, and then our intermediate stretcher board. So that's what we're going to do real quick. We're going to put ourselves some lines there. We took some time, we did some layout on our side upright panels. So we have located, Ken's, where our center stretcher board will be going into the unit. What we're gonna do is drill a couple small pilot holes. Then that'll give us identifiers on the outside where we need to drill the 3/8-inch Forstner for our little button caps when we go to assembly. All right, so let's get these drilled and keep moving. We're going to do 3 screws on the underside of our bottom shelf. So I'll just get a nice even spacing on those.
Okay.
If you want to clean the face up of both of these, Mackenzie, we can get you started on that.
Okay.
Okay, Mackenzie, great job sanding. I hope your arm comes back to life.
I can almost feel my fingers.
Okay. We're ready to go. We're ready to start to assemble this bad boy.
Okay.
We have drilled on the underside of our top shelf and on the underside of our bottom shelf, just a series of the Kreg pocket holes. We're going to use some adhesive. We still have our locating lines. We'll run some screws in, and before we know it, you'll be doing the finishing sanding.
Okay.
Okay.
Can't wait.
All right, Kens, give it a whirl. Same thing on the top, Mackenzie.
Okay.
What do you think?
Looks good.
You want to slide that piece down where we're at here? All right.
She stands.
Starting to look like a rod and reel rack.
Yeah, it does.
What we need to do now is our center stretcher board, right? These boards are to be stretcher boards 7.5 inches off the floor. Okay, Kens, try that center stretcher piece. All right. Oh, that's gonna be good.
In.
Go to your favor there. Okay, I'm gonna do that and come in somewhere close. All right, Mackenzie. We have
Good.
one more thing to do. We have these great little buttons. 3/8 wood button. We just need to dab them with some glue. Now, the last thing, Mackenzie, we're gonna elevate each corner.
Oh,
Okay, and we're gonna use those little 3/8 buttons.
Okay.
Now you have 4 main contact points. Let's tap 4 of those in.
Perfect.
Any of the exposed edges, they're sharp,
Yeah.
okay? You're gonna soften them,
Okay.
all right? All we're doing is just taking that sharpness off.
All right, so Steve, we have this together. It looks amazing. Is there a last step to it?
We're gonna take and give it a couple coats of just a spray polyurethane from Minwax in a satin finish, just to get it sealed, protected, and ready for use. So I'll probably jump on that tomorrow, but hey, great job today.
Thank you.
Folks, we did it. Mackenzie, great job. First time with a Build It with Baird project, and we took on this great little rod and reel rack. What do you think?
I think it looks amazing. I'm proud of us.
You know, with our experience levels, we don't do it every day. We found our way through it, no problem. Plans are online, and hey, until next time, Steve Stack, Mackenzie Cross, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwood, Studio 3B, stay tuned.